My name is Dr. Wadell Brooks Sr. I'm the host for a radio and television show. The radio show is community focused. It airs weekly at WKRS in Waukegan. And of course, I was approached by the manager to host the show, and I always wanted to host a radio and TV show, but never had the opportunity, and I never received the training. So I accepted the challenge right away, and it took me about 5 months to put a program together the way I wanted it. And it has been, since 1990, since I've been doing the radio. And about 6 months after I started the radio show, Dave Allen, the host for a radio show in Waukegan, say, "Have you ever thought about doing a TV show?" Well, you know, it blew my mind, and it was a challenge just doing the radio. And so I know that opportunities, I like to say this for the youngsters, opportunity may only come once in a lifetime. So I thought I would take advantage of it. And again, it took me about another 5 or 6 months to put the program together. And I went to Comcast. I guess it wasn't Comcast then, it was U.S. Cable of Lake County. And I had the training there. I see Sandy Martin was there. And also after her, it became Victor Walters. And so it was exciting for me. Now, to put the show together, I had no problem in getting guests because it's a weekly show, and I had guests that was overflowing. What really helped me, got me off to a running start, was I had a videographer that noticed that I was having, it was a challenge to me because I only did the talk portion of it. I never learned the operation, and still I have not learned the operation behind the camera. And so I had a person volunteered to help me with the program, and this videographer stayed with me for about 7 years because he was excited about the show. And I'm not sure whether he was excited about the hosts or the guests, but he stayed with me for 7 years, and I've had, the Comcast is really a voluntary operation. So I had several camera people and people behind the scene that volunteered and still volunteer since 1990 for the radio, and the television is what, 94, I guess. So that's been 19 years that I've been doing a television portion. Now, the programs are inspirational or educational, and I try to not include politics. Of course, it's very difficult because when politicians are running for office, they say, well, I want to get on community forum, and in addition to the other programs that they're on. And so I ensure that if I had one party, then I would have to have the other party. And I try to limit that because most of the time would be with politicians, because if I would have one party and I have the next party, and I might have to have an independent, and that would defeat the purpose of my program. I want it to be educational. Of course, politics is educational too, you know. But we cover, besides the field of education, when we have organizations that want to highlight what they're doing. There may be fraternities, maybe sororities, maybe someone from the Cancer Society. I've had judges on, and I've had state's attorneys on, and I even had some of the Comcast people, a few of them, and they were in front of the camera, and they usually be behind the camera also. So I'm getting the feel. This is I'm a novice in front of the camera as a guest and not a host. But a real challenge for me came, and it was exciting to have a live show. At Comcast a few years ago, we had weekly live shows, and what happened, there was a flood, there was a heavy rainstorm and the roof caved in. At this particular studio we're in now at 1585 WAUKEGAN Road here in Waukegan. And when it was repaired several months later, then it did not include the live television programs. I was kind of disheartened because I had so many people that were calling in, and they were just excited about the call-in portion, because we did not have that here in the Comcast family. So that ended after the flood, and we went back to our tape portion of the program. Now, several people asked me, how do you get your programs? You got a weekly program, but you'd be surprised that I have a backlog. At this moment, I have at least 2 months backlog of programs, because when people want to be on the program, they want it to be aired the next week. The program airs on every Thursday at 7 o'clock and on Channel 17. And if I tape on a Tuesday, then they want it aired that Thursday. Well, I have to make adjustments. Like I say, I'm always at least a couple of months ahead in the tapes, because I used to tape at least, I know sometimes twice a week. And then what happened, I have my own studio. I really got aggressive, and my wife told me that she surprised me, as a matter of fact. I went on a trip for a job for about a week, and I came back, and she converted her office and her home into a studio, and I was so shocked. But she got the videographer that I had to help her, of course, and I was just shocked. Of course, with wives, you just never know what's going to happen, you know. And so I always said that I'm not going to miss my blessing by standing in her way. So a lot of things, we have 55 years of marriage to Dr. Daisy Brooks, to give her the kudos there. And we've only been together because I said I don't stand in her way. She does a great job, and I do everything to promote her programs, and she does everything to help me promote my program. She stated that sometimes when I try to get the studio, because the studio has to be shared with other, hosts. And so when I have a good program I want to tape, it's all tape shows, then I couldn't get in until there's a vacancy. So she said, I'll take care of that. So that's the primary reason why she allowed the studio to be in our home. So if I can't get the place in the studio here, then I have the guests come to my home, and I share the program. So this is where we are now. There may be some specific things that I like to be shared, and I'll be happy to share those. But I have really benefited from the. It's exciting to me. It's challenging, and I try to be as enthusiastic as I can. One thing I learned from watching the professional guests on CBS and NBC, MC, MSNBC, to kind of nod your head in agreement, and you're always in agreement. You never disagree with your guests, you know. And so one thing that does is keep me awake too, because my wife asked me, she said, you know, you tape for an hour, really 58 minutes when you allow for your credits, you know, and so forth. So I do that to stay awake. Of course, I have to give my guests credit, though. They're very interesting programs. Now, I thought about my volunteers, people that do taping, and when I say they're truly volunteers, and they enjoy. And once in a while, I just give them a token of appreciation, and they never ask for anything. They're surprised, you know, and some refuse to take a token of appreciation. They enjoy, and so that really encourages me that when this happens. But I do have sponsors for the program just in case that tokens are needed to give to the camera people, because it's a really, I know they enjoy doing it, but it's nice to get a pat on the back sometime and say, well, it's appreciative. The hosts appreciate what we do. Now, I have approximately 10 sponsors periodically, and they rotate. You know, rotate quarterly, or some may want to be on for a year. But I do have sponsors that never seen a show. And I asked them about that. They say, well, we know that you are community activists. You're doing a great job in the community. And so we want to, and for years that I had to almost insist for to name one, the First Midwest Bank, I had to go all the way to, Ithaca, Illinois, to interview the president of the First Midwest Bank. And he's excited about it, and I think he's the only one that I've had from the bank, but they're the first ones that I receive the sponsorship from each year, the first one. Because I have several others, I just have to name the one there, but I have several others that annually they can't wait until I give them an opportunity to be the sponsorship. I started out very aggressive with that. I was asking for a sponsorship every quarter, but I realized that myself, I want to keep them, so I didn't want to be overbearing, and so I just request a sponsorship annually, and this has been working out fine. So this has been a great opportunity for me, one that I had never dreamed it would happen. And I guess it was, I have faith in God, and I pray. As a matter of fact, and speaking of praying, someone asked me, say, you have too many ministers and pastors on your program. And I told them, I wish I could interview a pastor every week, you know, because of the inspiration and because of the message that they deliver. And this is another thing too. I have all ethnicities on the program, and I have all. There's approximately, what someone mentioned, about 3,000 denominations in the world, but I can't get 3,000 denominations on my show. But recently I've had the Seventh-day Adventists, I had Baptists, I've had Methodists, Church of God in Christ, and you know, and other. I will have, because I'm interested, because it's a learning process, and I'm interested in learning about the different faiths. One thing they all have in common is that we do believe in God. That's the one thing. If they did not believe in God, then I probably will edit it or just put in file 13. because God is the answer. In other words, we got different roads. We got one God we serve, but there's different roads to get there. And so if one want to go to the right or to the left, but as long as we end up in his God's kingdom. And I am a community activist, and I practice, what I preach. And most people in the community know that I am what I am. In other words, I don't try to be someone that I can't be. There's challenges and there's difficulties, but in the end, it normally works out. Well, I guess I do what I do because I am a community activist. I guess that's maybe the bottom line. I like helping others. There are people that are less fortunate than I am. So, but I don't think that should be a handicap. And I think that even the President of the United States of America was a community activist while he was in his young training days, and I guess was in Chicago, that he saw that some people are more fortunate than others, and I tell really jokes all the time, but this is not a joke. I have never seen a Brinks truck behind a hearse yet. So even though people try to accumulate all the material things in their life, they are going to leave this world in the same way that they enter it. Naked thou came into the world, and naked you're going to leave. So I guess my legacy would be, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And you have to love yourself if you're going to love others. So I guess this is what I believe in. I taught my children. As I say children because I have 3 youngsters, and we started with them on a living room floor, counting and spelling and doing all types of things. And we speak about parent-community relations and raising children and all this type of thing. They all 3 have finished college. As a matter of fact, my son finished the University of Illinois in electrical engineering. As a matter of fact, he's retired as an electrical engineer. A daughter in accounting went to Michigan State. As a matter of fact, she was in the same class as Magic Johnson, but he left in 1979 as a sophomore, and the rest is history as far as he's concerned. And my daughter she retired from AT&T, I guess, in the headquarters in New Jersey. My youngest daughter has finished at National College of Education. She has 2 masters, one master's from National, and the other master's from Northern Illinois University, and she has 2 doctors. So we're an educational family, and so we also established a Brooks Foundation Scholarship where we give $5,000 in scholarships each year to graduating seniors, $1,000 graduating senior from North Chicago, one from Waukegan, one from Zion, and the $400 or $500 scholarships to my alma mater, East St. Louis, Illinois. Yes, I'm proud of East St. Louis, Illinois. I received a scholarship to Illinois State because I could have taken any one of the 5 state schools. I chose Illinois State. And the tuition at that time was $40 per semester. But that was 63 years ago, and but I cherish that scholarship, and that's really, we believe in scholarships ourselves. I am a Korean veteran. I was drafted into the U.S. Army and spent 16 of my 22 months and 10 days in Korea. And I never was fond of the Army. I never had retirement from the military in mind, because I was drafted in January and July. I was in Korea. And I was wondering why we lost so many military people, but going there so quickly and not having the training, and I could barely lock and load M1 rifle, you know, and I'm in Korea, and the fighting, I don't know, I thought was senseless, but someone else determined, you know, that we should go to, you know, to the military. So I served my time in military, have my college degree, and now we give scholarships encouraging others to go, because we feel that in this world, we live in a global society now. Our workforce is global, and we have to insist there shouldn't be any doubt at all, shouldn't be any discussion about parents raising the children, because we should never have a dropout problem. Because if you don't know technology now, you say, well, I'll be a warehouseman. Well, now a warehouseman have to know technology to know where to find items in the warehouse, you know, so you have to have that. So any information that I can promulgate to the community, then I will do. I would say this one thing: Community Forum has a wide range of coverage. We air at 7 different locations. We air in, of course, in Lake County. We have Libertyville, which airs at 7 o'clock every Thursday night, the same as Waukegan. We have Lake Forest that airs twice. It airs at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, every Sunday morning on channel, I guess it's 19, there are 4 in Lake Forest, and also Fridays at 1 p.m. It airs at Lake, let's see, in a Time Warner, channel 4 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and that may carry on into Racine, I'm not sure. But it also airs in Chicago. It's CAN TV, C-A-N TV in Chicago, Illinois. Now, technology is increasing too in television, even community access. We have the DVDs. Of course, here we got the VHS. Believe it or not, we still got VHS here at Comcast here in Waukegan, and we have to change over to DVDs for the other locations, except Highland Park. Highland Park used the mini DVD. So we have the VHS, we got the DVD, and then the mini DVD. So that's a challenge too, to keep keep up that. So I've really gotten involved since initiating in August of 1994. Now, in 1994, I received an award, a plaque, for the first year production. And I thought that was exciting. Here, the first production that I did, I got the best, was the best. We gave what we call K-back awards at that time, that for the best producer, and we got different areas that we recognize, and everyone likes to be recognized. Now the title of that show was it was about casinos. At that time, I think Bobby Thompson was mayor of North Chicago, and I think Mr. Duffy, if someone could remember, was the owner there of the casino, and they were trying to get a casino for North Chicago. It was unsuccessful. I guess it was in Rosemont. So, but that was, I always will remember, and I still have that tape, and what I may do is updated the credits and so forth on there and air it again, because that's one of the the highlights that having the first year production coverage. Well, that's an overview of Dr. Wadell Brooks Sr. as a host. Now, I have several people want me to train them as hosts. Now, what I have done is had co-hosts on many occasions, which had worked out well, and I teased them that my production, has really, my ratings has gone up, highly, because I know that's very difficult to get ratings for radio and TV, except on a local level. I guess they can do it on a national level much better. But I have co-hosts, and that's the closest I've come to training people, because I was not trained myself. This was just a gift of gab that I have, I guess, as you can tell by this production here. But we try to, if anyone have a desire to do something, I would say then just put forth, just pray first, and then just go for it. And my wife mentions that all the time when the things that she does, go for it. And normally it's going to work out. So where do I go from here? I don't know. Where the Lord's lead me, then I will go. I didn't know I would be in front of the camera as a guest 19 years ago when I started TV. Well, I guess the radio was 23 years for radio. Then that was 1990. But each position I've had since I left college has been garrulous, because I started out as a teacher at the VA Hospital Downey, Illinois, at that time. Now it's the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Health Care Center, since it was combined with the Great Lakes Hospital. I stayed there 11 years, and then I went to transfer to the Great Lakes as a naval base as a counselor for 2 years, counseling military people getting out of service. The program was called Project Transition, would transition of military people from the military to, of course, and the Navy or the federal government felt that this was not being productive for the Navy. Its transfer is in helping military people to transition out of service. They wanted people to stay in service. From there, I went transferred to Director of Housing Referral, assisting military people in housing on the outside. Of course, it was not a goal of the military to provide a house for every family. So my job was to find them a place off base. Now that was a challenge because all landlords did not want to provide their housing facilities to all military people. So that was a challenge. And we even had the federal government had a suit. We didn't sue, but we had an agency, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The HUD was the one that took action against the landlord. So they finally, after several suits, then they finally decided to rent. Then I was, assignment was added to my duties, assigning military people to housing under base. And then the part two, if we were field on base, and to provide housing off base. And that entailed a lot of talking too, explaining the rules and regulations. And my last opportunity in the civilian workforce was a Deputy Equal Employment Opportunity Officer. for the last 9 years. And that was challenging because our numbers were not what they should have been. And so what we did is provided, use a little initiative, thinking out of the box. We had our own training programs, training people for employment. We had the apprenticeship program. We cooperated with College of Lake County. They provided the academics, and we provided the on-the-job training. Of course, those of you listening and that were in civil service may heard of the upward mobility program. So we had our training program, and in steps, the people would work up to journeyman. So that's thinking out of the box. Well, after about 38 years military and civilian service, I decided to retire after being offered a package deal. Excuse me, and then the wife and I started a daycare center. There weren't, well, there's one other big daycare center, those you can remember, Happy Day Nursery in WAUKEGAN. They were building at the same time we were. We're building a facility for 100 children, and they were building for 100 children. Because they had the advantage of us because they came out of one facility into another where we started from scratch. Well, that was not enough. After 1 year, well, no, I should say really about 4 years, I guess, the parents were saying, we take our babies to a home to take care of babies, then bring our child for you for daycare, which you consider infant center. So the wife said, no problem. So we built 1979, it was Daisy Nursery, infant center, accommodate about 65 infants. And after, let's see, about 10 years later, 1989, the wife said, well, it's not enough. So we checked with Department of Children and Family Services to see what their needs were, and they needed a group home for girls. No problem, so the wife became a general contractor and built the group home for girls. But now at this point, we're trying to retire, and the economy has changed now a great deal. So we having a difficulty trying to get out of the total operation. We've sold a couple of buildings. We sold the infant center and the daycare center, but we had a little difficulty trying to sell the infant center. But another challenging experience, I have to mention this, is that when we decided to get a loan for the building, our own bank refused to give us the money. And we couldn't understand why, because we had enough of the down payment and so forth, and we had all our paperwork was together. So we learned the reason, as we went along. But what we did, they referred us to SB8, the Small Business Administration. We went to the Small Business Administration in Chicago, and we had learned what paperwork you needed to have together. So we got our paperwork together, and we stopped at the secretary's desk, and she gave us SBA's paper. She said, here's all the papers you need to fill out and bring them back to us. Well, we know it usually take about 6 months to a year, to fill out the paper, complete the paperwork and get it back. But the wife told her, we're going to lunch, and we're going to fill out the paperwork at lunch and come back. And so we went to lunch. I think it was the 4th floor there in Edward Dirksen building. Fill out all the paperwork, because we had all the financial statements and everything, because we had, all we had to do is fill out the paperwork that they had. And so we requested to see a counselor. She told us we had to see a counselor. So we saw a counselor, and I think it was one of the SCORE counselors there, the veterans counselor. When they got through talking with us, they told us that we need my wife on their team. And that was really a challenge for us. And we saw the counselor to do the approval, and we got tentative approval the same afternoon. And of course, actually, what we need to do, and we thought about it many times, and we hope it's not too late, is put everything down in book form. And we thought that it would probably be a bestseller if we would put everything down in a book. Because we have had some challenging experiences. When I was in grade school, my aunt used to take me to Mississippi. I'm from Lexington, Mississippi, and that's a school for, I think, Church of God in Christ has a school there in town, Lexington, Mississippi. I was raised in the country. I say raised there, but I left there when I was about 8 months old. It got too hot for me. So I left Mississippi and came to East St. Louis, and that's where I raised. But I had to go back, and I went to a country store with my grandfather, who was a sharecropper. He gathered all of his crops, during the year, and he'd take them to the country store, and that was just one set of books. Even, a pre-teenager, I know that something was wrong there. And so at that point, I decided I was going to major in business, and so, because I know there should be two separate books, the country store books and also my grandfather's books. My grandfather didn't have any books. He relied on the country store owner. And so I did major in business, taught business, I can say for my first 11 years. I served 10 years on the Great Lakes Credit Union, and that was a really help to me personally, not only serving on the credit committee to approve loans, but it was easy for me to get the paperwork together to go to the bank to get our loan approved. Oprah Winfrey invited my wife to be on her show, and that was mind-boggling, the Oprah Winfrey show, and we watch all the time. And during the show, because this was a Mother's Day, that there were about eight mothers, I think, were honored. And when she talked with my wife, she asked her, "How do you do the things you do?" So the wife told on a word in a prayer. She said, "If I were to give you $100,000, could you use it?" And so everybody went, "Wow," And there's a commercial break, and she had to finance people write a check for $100,000, and she signed it during the break time, and came back on a regular show, and she gave it to her around the show and say, "Here's $100,000, use it well." Now, we thought that was great, but the following year, she sent her a check for another $100,000 and told her to give the girls, divide it with the girls, give the girls half of it. And they were excited. Naturally, the girls got half of it, and then we used it. And she didn't have any restrictions on it. She said, "Use it well." And I thought that was fine. One of the outstanding things we received a recognition from the Bahar family, Bahar and Evanston. We were recommended for the highest award there. I think it's the David Kellum Award. Those in the Bahars will know. And when they interviewed us, they showed the Oprah presentation there. When we got of course, at Illinois State, I received a plaque there. I forget I can think of the Kellum Award for the Baha'is. I can't think of the name of the award for, but it was for the students that have done an outstanding job since leaving the university. And so what I did, the next year, then I wrote up a person that I thought should be awarded, another Illinois State alumni, and that was a young man. He does art work and he retired from Allstate and he did the artwork with his daughter on the side. And he did receive and he told me that, Dr. Brooks, would you mind, you wrote me up here introducing me to at the ceremony. So I had no choice. The family, we drove down and I did introduce him for the award. So there's been several accomplishments. Of course, I can't forget we received doctor's degree confirmation from a college in Birmingham, Alabama, the Faith Grant College there in Birmingham, Alabama. We went down, and the reason this is significant is because we went down and I took my cameraman down with me. He was excited to go. He went down, my wife received her doctor's there first. The next year, then I was recommended, and the cameraman, he said, well, I got to go back with you. I went for your wife, and so he went down with me, and both times he went down to tape the confirmations and to bring back for my show. That now, another thing, exciting thing that happened, the president of the college said, you know, what I would like to do is go back to North Chicago and do a reconfirmation at the place where you earned it. He said, because the people in North Chicago should have recognized you, but we're going to do it. So he brought his board of directors right to the center, Daisy Resource and Development Center, and had 10 local doctors to participate. And I mentioned, I can't name all 10, but Phil Kerrigan was one. Dr. Phil Kerrigan, trustee in the College of Lake County, was one of the doctors that participated in the ceremony. Dr. Webb, that retired from North Chicago school system, was another one that participated. And so these are memorable experiences, accomplishments that happened that I can just off the top of my head but there are many others that happened to us. I have to mention this because of the work that we're doing, and the wife was a general contractor and she runs the show at the business. She was recognized by President Barack Obama as on the 2010 Citizens Medal. And so she got a call and she said, oh yeah, right, you know, just like she did with Oprah Winfrey, yeah, right, you know. So we went to the White House, and we stayed at the Hyatt Regency, just a block close to the White House, and searched many times. We had to show ID, but from the curb to the White House inside the room, we had to show identification about 5 times, you know. Each time they checked us off, they had it all worked out, checked it off. But now I guess you couldn't get close to it now with the, we went there, and there's about 13 people from across the country that received awards, and she was one of the 13. So they went to the, I guess the green room, I guess, and every time we see a presentation from the room there, we say we were there. Now the Medal of Honor, I guess it's the highest honor that a civilian could receive. The Citizen Medal is the second highest. And so we sit in our living room and say, yeah, we were there. And they went to the green room and he gave a prep. They were prepped up, and and she told me that he stated that, how do you do the things you do, and you're doing a phenomenal job, you know, and you say, and you're not bad looking. Of course, I told him, I said, watch it, buddy. Now, I kid about that all the time, but no way that could happen, because security would have had me out of there in no time flat. But I could go on and on, you know, but these are some highlights of the that I like to remember. Now, locally, the Lake County, I guess that's the Economic Development Committee there, they recognized, we got, it's the D. Rivera Award, named after the outstanding Hispanic in Lake County. D. Rivera, and the Hispanics would know him, that that's the highest award, I guess, among Hispanics. We received that, I'm not sure what year that was, but it's hanging high on a wall there in my wife's office. Of course, if you walk in her office, you see I think she had all four walls really with plaques and certificates and so forth. And one other one, since I mentioned it, is the state senator of GOKARS. She's a Republican. We're Democrats. She invited us and we spent a night in the state at her inauguration, at her installation, I guess it's called, installation for, and so we sat in her booth there, and so she was that type of person. Even though she's Republican, we're Democrats. We set up there just as proud, and she's proud of us. She did a lot for us while in the business, while she was a state senator, and so these are the memorable experiences. And I guess I could go on, and without any notes or so forth to listen all but these are the outstanding things that happened, and probably many more, but those at the top of my head are the ones. I know one thing is that all of these things, I'm going to reshow the first part of next year, the tapes showing, especially the one with Condoleezza Rice visited our Daisy Resource and Developmental Center, and that was an exciting experience. I think a Republican delegation, Congressman Kirk, he was congressman at that time, he was the one that arranged for this gathering in our gymnasium at Daisy Resource and Development Center. Corrine Wood was the chairperson for that event, and then the highlight was Condoleezza Rice. The wife took her on a tour of Daisy's Resource and Development Center, and then she came and made about a 20-30 minute talk about experiences. In other words, what she was saying is, he summed it up, highlighted that it's the local people, like Dr. Daisy Brooks. She said Dr. Daisy Brooks and Dr. Wadell Brooks, but Daisy Brooks is the one, that I have to give her kudos, the one that she really highlighted. She took on a tour, and that tape will have to be shown again to show Lake County. So all the things that we did, I have the opportunity to replay those on the show here, because it happened several years ago. I was weekly. I was a part of the Lake County Race Unity Task Force for many years, at least about 19 years, and we taped the show at the YWCA when it was on Belvedere Mall, and they have moved now out to Tri-State Highway, but they overgrew their space. But we did the cameraman couldn't wait every Thursday to go. Now every Thursday, no, I may be just once a month. We went monthly, that we went to tape, and we had not only people from Bahamas, but all races, nationalities, and the programs what the people would, and we had people would be, don't touch that dial, I understand. We're waiting every Thursday at 7 o'clock, which is now every Thursday, 7 o'clock, channel 17. So with the radio and the TV, as you can see, has been the highlight of our career. And like I said, the wife saw how highly interested and I was, and what she does, provide every opportunity. She provides the studio in the home, and now she's become interested. Every Thursday night, she's right there. Your program is ready to be aired, you know. And I watch it because it's to see what improvements I could make. I said, well, I should have gotten a haircut before I did the show, you know. Now I don't have any hair. I don't have to worry about it now, you know. But I see little things that need improvement. So I didn't have the makeup, or I still don't have the makeup room like Oprah Winfrey has. The other, like Kennedy or Obama, they all have makeup rooms before they go on the show. But I have to make sure that I do my own makeup, you know, wash my face. And don't put powder on it though, you know. But it's just an enjoyable experience. And I have people, oh, you're community forum, community focus. People tell me that my father watched your program at 5 o'clock every Sunday morning. You know, if I can back up, the radio show used to air on the AM and the FM every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. for the first show, and it doubles back at 6 a.m. on the AM. So 5 a.m. on the FM and 6 a.m. on the AM. Now, we only have FM coverage on WKRS, but my show is the only show that survived. It still airs at 5 a.m., but the only other talk show. So I feel very elated about that. But I'm going to say that several people have mentioned that one lady said she, on her way to work, that she watches it, and another business person say his father say, don't touch that dial at 5 a.m. His father diligently watched the show. So I don't know how many people watch it, but I do meet people in the bank, in the post office, and in the super fresh market that I shop at for groceries, and excuse me, all over, to let me know that they do watch the show. So I would assume that the ratings are high.